Hello again from my front porch, my nicely shaded front porch area. You see this over here, this light. That's actually what it should look like on me. I should be sitting in blinding sunlight like that. But I finally wised up. That's right, 9 seasons in doing this thing, and I finally wised up because you see what often happens is I'm limited as to when I can do the videos based on where the sun is positioned. Because like right now, I wouldn't be out here doing this because the sun would literally be coming right, blinding me right in the face, and it'd be washing me all out, and it would be shining on the phone, and it would be overheating very quickly and shutting down in the middle of the video, which that doesn't help anything. And so, so I finally wised up, and I put up this sun barrier. That that sounds really fancy. That sounds really important. But it's just an old bedspread. That's all it is. Just an old bedspread. In fact, it even has a hole in it. An old bedspread that I hung up. I put some nails in the woodwork, and I got some little alligator clips, and they clip to the bedspread so that I can hang it up there for times like this when I need to block the sun. And then I can just unhook them and just lay the thing on the floor out here on the porch when I don't need it, when the windows can all be open, and put it back up. So really smart idea. Been even smarter had I implemented it, maybe 9 years ago. Oh, wow. But sometimes that's what we need. Really. Sometimes it's not even just the bad stuff. It's good to have someone who runs blocker for us, that blocks the bad stuff from happening to us. And that's what, as parents, that's what we try to do with our kids. We're always trying to set rules and guidelines for our children because we don't want them to get hurt. We don't want them to experience bad things. Now, some might argue that socially we've swung the pendulum on that a bit too far, and that now we coddle and protect and overprotect those kids so that they don't experience some of the traumatic things growing up that we all look at and go, oh, that's horrible, they shouldn't have that. But when you do have that happen, as an adult, you're a little more adjusted because you already had that experience on a small scale, and you had to come to terms with that. Now, we could go way off in tangents from that. Part of the reason that there's so much more violence in schools today is because kids are not able to handle those things, partly because the family situations aren't necessarily educational and helpful and healthy, productive mentally in doing those things. Whole another realm we could go off with that, but it does tie all together. But so I've got this shade up blocking the sun, and for right now that would have been a negative, because like I said, I'd been like, I can't see nothing. You might have enjoyed it. but this homemade block screen thing that I hung up here, it's blocking what would be a negative from me right now. It's letting me be able to do the episode without battling with the sun, without worrying about both the sunlight coming in, but also odd shading from the window frames. Because if you've seen some of the episodes in the past, you maybe see me sitting a little bit like this, or I might kind of squash down a little bit like this, or whatever. And oftentimes I'm doing that because the sun is positioned in a way that's making the window frame go whereas if I was just sitting normal and sitting up like this, straight backed and sitting up, that I might have a window frame going right across my face like the Lone Ranger mask. It is an interesting look, but if that's not what I'm going for, then that's not very helpful. So having this screen up, it's running blocker for me on that. But sometimes, before I segue, it is very easy for us to understand the need for a blocker of bad things. In fact, many of us desperately want someone or someone's to be that curtain, that barrier, because life can throw a lot of stuff at us, a lot of negative stuff, bad stuff, even just the challenges, and it can be overwhelming. I know it's happened to me. I've got friends, dear friends, right now who are going through situations either on their own or with family members and loved ones that it's just incredible burden on them. It's incredible weight on their shoulders, and they don't need people to be giving them sympathy. They don't need people to be saying, "Oh, it'll get better." Oh, what they need are people who would be willing to help block some of that. They would be willing to help shoulder some of that load for them that would can do that. Now, sometimes that's difficult to achieve. But for individuals who are struggling in those kind of battles, having a barrier is a good thing. Gives them a little break, a chance to catch their breath. Not that children are a bad thing, they can be, but it's like being a parent, especially of a very small, a toddler age. Like my granddaughter Ellie. Ellie is a gem. She's adorable. She's a sweet little angel, except when she's not. and even when she's not, especially, her parents can use a break. But even sometimes when she is wonderful and angelic, but full of questions and curiosity and energy and wants to do it, mom and dad still wear down. And it's good to be able to hand off the baton to someone else to say, "Hey, can you watch her for a little while?" In that instance, it's not just that they get this barrier, like my screen here. It's not that they just get a barrier, they get a reprieve from the bad stuff. They also get a reprieve from too much good stuff. You can't have too much good stuff. And I don't mean just like gluttony and things like that, although obviously that would be too much of good stuff. I just mean the sunlight coming in. Sunlight's not a bad thing. Now, it's bad if you look directly into it without a screen or without glasses. That'd be bad. But the sunshine itself, we need it to live. That's a given. We need it to live. And plus, on those days, like right now, we have the shorter days because we're in the wintertime, and you're going to start getting longer. But when the sun goes down way early and it comes up way late in the morning, those times that the sun is not up, for me at least, are very draining. They are very, as soon as that sun goes down at 5:30 or whatever it's been going down at, I feel like, half my battery's gone. Now, a few months before, when the sun wasn't going down until 8:30, did I feel that way at 5:30? No, not at all. I was still going strong, doing stuff. It's the mental thing. The lack of the light, the lack of the sunshine creates that drain. So having the sunshine is a good thing. But again, if I didn't have the screen up right now, it would be just blasting in from the because my front porch here, it faces the south, and so as the sun is going from east to west, going over that way, it means it's right up there the whole time. It's like going. So when it's over there, it's not so bad. When it's over here, depending on where it's at, it can be bad. I prefer it when there are clouds because the light would come in. But now I got this sheet that comes around a little bit, so I'll be able to block some of that. But when it's where it is right now, because right now it's fairly close to the noon hour. When it's where it is right now, it's just right here. And even though it's a good thing, it's too much of a good thing. To the point that I wouldn't be out here doing this right now if I did not have that screen blocking the too much of a good thing, helping me to sort of diffuse it so that it's a little more workable for me to do the video thing here. And it's important for us to know that too, because Again, when we're facing tough times, when we've got bad stuff going on, yeah, absolutely, we welcome help. When we've got things going on that we think, oh man, that is just so, such a burden, such a weight, man, I don't know how I'm going to make it through all of this. Yeah, absolutely, we will welcome other people coming along to assist in most cases. And some of us have that stubborn Midwestern pride that, number one, we're afraid or resistant to let anybody know we have the problems, to even ask for help in the first place. And then even if they spot it that they need to help us and they offer, sometimes we'll refuse the offer, again out of that same misguided Midwestern pride. Now, I do believe that we all should be self-sufficient and we should try to do what we can on our own. But I also don't think there's anything wrong with accepting the help of your community. And I don't mean like the city itself. I mean your personal community, your circle of friends and family, and the people who are invested in your life, your personal community. There's nothing wrong with accepting help from them, especially in the bad times. There's also nothing wrong with accepting help from them in the good times. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you admitting you could use some help, even in the good times. See, when it's the bad times, we will reluctantly sometimes ask for help, but we know that nobody's going to be critical because we'll be sure to explain to them why the situation is so dire. Because then they won't think bad of us. They'll understand, oh yeah, that does something. When in reality, we don't have to spin it. We don't have to sell them on why my situation is. You can just ask and they will help because they are your community. But we sometimes feel the need we have to do that. But then when things aren't in a problem, when things are going well, but maybe it's going too well or too much of going well, it can still get overwhelming. It can still stretch you so thin you can't handle it. And then we are even more reluctant to acknowledge that we need help. And in fact, I think sometimes our brain doesn't even make the connection there, just like it didn't right now with me trying to find the word. but because when things are going well, if we feel like we need help, we actually might feel guilty that we need the help. Don't do it. You see, none of us have to operate as an isolated island of ourselves. We do not have to exist in a silo. You do not have to do everything all on your own. Now, different people, because of their life experiences, have been trained, and I don't mean that in a positive way. I mean through their experiences that they've endured, they have been trained to be self-sufficient, to not depend on anybody else, because when they've done that, they have gotten burned, and that is unfortunate, but it is reality. And I'm not going to say that magically just poof goes away. But here's what I will say. Don't let yourself become so hard-hearted. Don't let yourself become so jaded. Don't let yourself become so isolated from even your direct community around you that you are unwilling to say, hey, I need a blocker. I need a screen. The sunlight is good and bad, and right now, whichever one it is, it's too much. I need something to stand in the gap. I need something to block that for me. Well, for the sun, I was able to use an old bedspread. What about the people in your life? Are you paying enough attention to them so that you can tell that, yeah, that person's struggling. I haven't seen him out and around for a while. I haven't heard from him. I haven't seen him online. I wonder how they're doing. Or even more than that, I know that person and I know they're going through this certain situation and I haven't heard them talk about it much, I should check in with them, see how they're doing. But if you do that, don't just shower them with platitudes. I'm talking about reaching out to be able to say, hey, how can I be a screen for you? Whether what you're dealing with is overwhelming you with bad or overwhelming you with good, or maybe, as in the case of my granddaughter Ellie, sometimes maybe a little both. What can I do to help you? What can I do? And likewise, don't be afraid to ask for help for yourself. It's okay. It does not make you weak. It does not make you a failure. It does not mean people are going to judge you. Well, I shouldn't say that. There will be people who will judge. There are always people who are judged. They're called morons. They look down their nose at everybody else. They elevate themselves by belittling everyone around them. And they're always going to do that. So don't decide what you will or won't do based off of idiots like that. Because they're always going to be there. Just be yourself. Grab onto what you can. And don't be afraid to reach out to your community and say, hey, I could use some help. And if you've not been comfortable doing that in the past, guess what? It's a new year. That can be one of your resolutions. I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions, but that would be a really good thing for you to consider implementing as a different approach for you to take. All right. Enough of my soapbox pontificating behind my shady screen. See, the other problem is now without the sun just beating on me and making me sweat, whoo, man, as I've done in the past, now I feel more comfortable. I could just keep talking and talking and talking. You're all going to be like, Paul, take that shade down. All right. With that, I will let you go. And I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.